There is a mineral that your body uses in over 300 essential processes every single day. It plays a direct and documented role in how your cells respond to insulin. It influences how steadily your blood sugar behaves after every meal. It affects the quality of your sleep, the reliability of your energy, the health of your heart, and the calmness of your nervous system. And the majority of adults over 50 are not getting enough of it. Not because they are being careless, not because they are ignoring their health, but because this particular mineral is quietly and consistently depleted by the very circumstances of life after 50. By the foods that have been displaced from the modern diet, by the medications that many older adults take every day, by the natural decline in digestive efficiency that comes with age, and by the chronic low-grade stress that quietly drains the body's reserves faster than most people realize. The mineral is magnesium. And if you have been doing everything right for your blood sugar and still not seeing the results you expect, magnesium may be the missing piece you have not yet considered. This is TrueWell Prime. And today we are going to walk through exactly what magnesium does in the body, why it matters so deeply for blood sugar health after 50, why so many older adults are running low without knowing it, and what you can do to start addressing this gap in a way that is practical and sustainable. Let us begin. Take Margaret, for example, a 62-year-old from suburban Florida managing pre-diabetes with metformin, lisinopril, and a statin that leaves her with muscle aches. Despite trying low carb, her afternoons drag with fatigue, and sleep is restless. She didn't realize her magnesium levels were low from meds and stress, worsening her blood sugar spikes. Adding magnesium-rich foods and support helped her energy steady and readings improve. Small gap, big impact. First, let us establish just how central magnesium is to the body's overall function. Because when most people think of important minerals, they think of calcium for bones, or iron for blood, or potassium for the heart. Magnesium rarely gets the same attention. And yet in terms of sheer metabolic importance, it belongs at the very top of the list. Magnesium is a cofactor in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body. That means there are over 300 distinct biological processes that cannot happen properly without magnesium present in sufficient amounts. These processes include protein synthesis, DNA repair and replication, muscle contraction and relaxation, nerve signal transmission, energy production at the mitochondrial level, regulation of blood pressure, maintenance of heart rhythm, and critically for our conversation today, the production of insulin and the cellular response to it. When magnesium levels are adequate, these processes hum along efficiently and quietly. When magnesium levels fall below what the body needs, the disruption is not always dramatic or immediately obvious. It tends to be subtle at first. A little more fatigue, slightly less restful sleep, muscles that feel a little tighter or more prone to cramping, a nervous system that feels a little more reactive and less settled, energy that is a little less reliable than it used to be. Over time, as the deficiency deepens or persists, the consequences become more pronounced. And for adults over 50 who are already navigating the metabolic challenges that come with this stage of life, a magnesium shortfall can quietly undermine progress across virtually every dimension of health they are trying to support. Now let us focus specifically on the relationship between magnesium and blood sugar, because this connection is one of the most well-documented in metabolic health research and one of the least discussed in everyday conversations about blood sugar management. Magnesium is required for the proper function of insulin receptors. These are the structures on the surface of your cells that insulin must bind to in order to move glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cell where it can be used for energy. Think of insulin as a key and the insulin receptor as the lock. For that lock to work properly, for the door to open and glucose to enter the cell efficiently, magnesium must be present. When magnesium levels are low, the insulin receptor does not function as well as it should. The lock becomes stiff. Insulin has a harder time doing its job. glucose remains in the bloodstream longer than it should after meals. And the pattern that emerges looks remarkably similar to what we call insulin resistance. This is not a theoretical connection. The research on it is substantial and consistent. Multiple large studies have found that adults with lower magnesium intake have significantly higher rates of insulin resistance and blood sugar dysregulation. And conversely, studies examining magnesium supplementation in adults with suboptimal magnesium levels have found measurable improvements in insulin sensitivity and blood sugar regulation as a result. One particularly meaningful finding that has emerged from this body of research is that the relationship between magnesium and blood sugar appears to be bidirectional. Low magnesium worsens blood sugar regulation, and poorly regulated blood sugar accelerates the loss of magnesium from the body. Here is why. When blood sugar is elevated, the kidneys work to filter the excess glucose out through urine, and magnesium is excreted alongside it. The higher and more frequent the blood sugar spikes, the more magnesium is lost through the kidneys. This creates a cycle that is difficult to break without directly addressing the magnesium deficit. Blood sugar elevation depletes magnesium. Magnesium depletion worsens blood sugar elevation, and around it goes. For adults over 50 who are already dealing with reduced insulin sensitivity, this cycle can be a significant and silent driver of the blood sugar instability they experience. Beyond the direct insulin and glucose connection, magnesium influences blood sugar health through several other important pathways that are worth understanding. Magnesium and inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the underlying drivers of insulin resistance after 50, and magnesium has well-documented anti-inflammatory properties at the cellular level. Adequate magnesium helps modulate the inflammatory pathways that, when chronically activated, impair the cell's ability to respond to insulin efficiently. Supporting magnesium status is therefore also a way of supporting the anti-inflammatory environment that healthy blood sugar regulation requires. Magnesium and cortisol. As we have discussed in previous videos, cortisol is one of the primary hormones that drives blood sugar upward, particularly overnight and in the early morning hours. Magnesium plays a direct role in regulating the body's stress response. It helps buffer the release and impact of cortisol, supporting a calmer and more controlled hormonal environment. When magnesium is low, the stress response becomes more pronounced and harder to modulate. Cortisol surges more easily, and blood sugar follows. Magnesium and sleep. Deep, restorative sleep is one of the foundations of healthy blood sugar regulation, and magnesium is one of the most important nutrients for sleep quality. It supports the activity of GABA, the primary calming neurotransmitter in the brain, which is essential for the transition into and maintenance of deep sleep. It also helps regulate melatonin, the hormone most directly associated with the sleep-wake cycle. Low magnesium consistently predicts poorer sleep quality, and as we have established, poor sleep directly worsens insulin resistance and blood sugar regulation the following day. Magnesium and energy production. The mitochondria, the energy-producing structures inside every cell, require magnesium to function. ATP, the primary energy currency of the body, actually exists in the cell bound to magnesium. Without adequate magnesium, ATP cannot be properly activated or utilized. The energy your mitochondria produce cannot be efficiently accessed, and the fatigue that results compounds all of the other metabolic challenges that adults over 50 are already navigating. So why are so many adults over 50 deficient in this profoundly important mineral? The answer involves several factors that converge in ways that make magnesium depletion almost predictable at this stage of life. The first factor is dietary displacement. Magnesium is found primarily in dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, and certain fish. These are foods that have been progressively displaced in the modern diet by processed and refined foods, which are not only low in magnesium themselves, but may actually interfere with magnesium absorption. Surveys of dietary intake consistently find that a large proportion of American adults, and an even larger proportion of adults over 50, are consuming less magnesium than the recommended daily amount through food alone. The second factor is soil depletion. Even when people are eating magnesium-rich foods, the magnesium content of those foods has declined significantly over the past several decades due to intensive agricultural practices that have reduced the mineral content of the soil in which food is grown. A serving of spinach today contains meaningfully less magnesium than the same serving of spinach grown 50 years ago. This is not well publicized, but it is well documented. The third factor is reduced absorption efficiency. After 50, the digestive system becomes less efficient at extracting and absorbing minerals from food. Stomach acid production declines, and adequate stomach acid is important for magnesium absorption. Intestinal function changes in ways that can further reduce the proportion of dietary magnesium that actually makes it into the bloodstream. So even adults eating a relatively magnesium-rich diet may be absorbing less of it than they realize. The fourth factor is medication use. Many of the medications most commonly prescribed to adults over 50 have magnesium depletion as a documented side effect. Proton pump inhibitors, commonly used for acid reflux, significantly reduce magnesium absorption. Diuretics, prescribed for blood pressure and heart conditions, increase magnesium excretion through the kidneys. Certain diabetes medications, some antibiotics, and corticosteroids also affect magnesium status. Adults taking one or more of these medications are at considerably higher risk of magnesium insufficiency, and many are never told this by their prescribing physician. The fifth factor is the stress depletion cycle. Chronic stress, whether physical, emotional, or physiological, accelerates magnesium loss through increased urinary excretion. And as we discussed, elevated blood sugar itself depletes magnesium through the same kidney excretion pathway. For adults over 50, managing multiple stressors alongside blood sugar challenges, magnesium reserves are being drawn down from multiple directions simultaneously. Now, what are the signs that your magnesium may be running low? Because most adults with suboptimal magnesium levels do not have a single dramatic symptom. They have a collection of subtle, easy-to-dismiss experiences that individually seem unremarkable, but together paint a recognizable picture. Difficulty falling or staying asleep, or waking unrefreshed despite adequate hours, is one of the most common signs. Muscle cramps or tightness, particularly in the legs and particularly at night, is another. A general sense of fatigue that feels disproportionate to your activity level or sleep quality. Increased sensitivity to stress, a nervous system that feels harder to calm and quicker to react. Headaches that occur without obvious cause, particularly in the morning. Heart palpitations or an awareness of irregular heartbeat. Constipation or sluggish digestion. And of course, the blood sugar instability and post-meal energy crashes that we have been discussing throughout this video. None of these individually points definitively to magnesium, but when several of them are present together, particularly in an adult over 50 who has not specifically addressed magnesium intake, a shortfall is a very reasonable explanation to investigate. It is worth noting that standard blood tests for magnesium are not always a reliable indicator of true magnesium status in the body. Most of the magnesium in your body is stored inside cells and in bone, not circulating in the blood. A blood test can come back within the normal range while your actual cellular magnesium is meaningfully below what your body needs to function optimally. This is worth discussing specifically with your healthcare provider if you have concerns. So what can you do to support healthy magnesium levels? The approach involves both food choices and thoughtful supplementation, and the two work best together. From a dietary standpoint, the foods richest in magnesium are dark leafy greens, like spinach, Swiss chard, and kale, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, almonds, cashews, and Brazil nuts, black beans, lentils, and chickpeas, dark chocolate with a high cocoa content, fatty fish like salmon and mackerel, and whole grains like quinoa and oats. Building more of these foods into your daily eating pattern is a meaningful and worthwhile step. At the same time, given the factors we discussed, namely soil depletion, reduced absorption efficiency, medication use, and the ongoing magnesium losses associated with stress and blood sugar fluctuation, food alone may not be sufficient to fully close the gap for many adults over 50. This is where targeted supplementation becomes relevant, and it is an area worth approaching with some care, because not all forms of supplemental magnesium are equally well absorbed or equally appropriate for different people. Magnesium glycinate is generally considered one of the most bioavailable and well-tolerated forms. It is bound to the amino acid glycine, which itself has calming properties that complement magnesium's sleep-supporting effects. Magnesium malate is another well-absorbed form that is often associated with energy support. Magnesium citrate is widely available and reasonably well absorbed, though it can have a mild laxative effect at higher doses. For adults over 50 focused on blood sugar support, sleep quality, and overall metabolic health, a form with good bioavailability, taken consistently as part of a daily routine, tends to produce the most meaningful and noticeable results over time. Magnesium does not work in isolation, and for adults over 50 focused on comprehensive blood sugar support, it works most effectively as part of a broader nutritional foundation that addresses multiple aspects of metabolic function simultaneously. Chromium supports insulin receptor function alongside magnesium, helping glucose enter the cells more efficiently. Berberine supports healthy glucose metabolism through pathways that complement magnesium's role in insulin sensitivity. Alpha-lipoic acid supports the mitochondrial energy production that magnesium helps enable. B vitamins support the metabolic pathways that process every meal, and vitamin D, which works in close partnership with magnesium, supports insulin sensitivity and overall metabolic health in ways that are difficult to achieve when either nutrient is deficient. Because obtaining meaningful amounts of all of these nutrients through food alone is genuinely challenging for most adults over 50, many people find that a well-formulated, comprehensive daily supplement that brings these key nutrients together, including magnesium in a bioavailable form, provides the most reliable and convenient foundation for their metabolic health efforts. If you would like to learn more about what to look for in that kind of comprehensive nutritional support and what others in a similar situation have found helpful, there is a resource in the description below where you can explore further at your own pace and in your own time. Before we close, the important reminder: this video is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice and is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any health condition. If you are considering adding magnesium supplementation to your routine, particularly if you are taking medications or managing kidney conditions, please speak with your healthcare provider first. Magnesium supplementation is generally very safe for most adults, but individual circumstances matter, and your provider can help you find the right approach for your specific situation. Let me leave you with something I want you to carry forward from today. Sometimes the missing piece is not another diet, not another exercise program, not a more disciplined effort at the habits you are already trying to maintain. Sometimes the missing piece is something quieter and more fundamental. A single mineral that your body is quietly short of, that is undermining your insulin sensitivity, disrupting your sleep, elevating your cortisol, and making everything else you are trying to do harder than it needs to be. Magnesium may be that piece for you. It is for a very large number of adults over 50. And the encouraging thing about identifying a nutritional gap is that filling it tends to produce results that feel noticeable and real. Better sleep, more stable energy, calmer nights, steadier blood sugar. A body that is finally getting one of the things it has been asking for. You have been paying attention to your health. You have been showing up, asking questions, looking for answers. Today you found one that may matter more than you expected. Take it seriously. Discuss it with your doctor. And consider what it might mean for how you feel a month from now if you begin to address it today. Thank you for spending this time with TrueWell Prime. Take good care of yourself.